Hello and welcome to the Federal Live. The Congress is on its track to defeat the BJP and return to power in Himachal Pradesh. I have my colleague, senior journalist Puneet Nicholas Yadav with me to give us more on the Himachal Pradesh's election results. Puneet, you were observing the result announcements. Could you please tell our viewers, the morning numbers suggested that it might be neck and neck. Then people were actually expecting it to be a hung assembly. But now it looks like Congress has this convincing victory. So how do you see this development?
Uh, Convincing victory, yes. It's not the kind of sweep that the Congress was expecting. It's a small state. The halfway mark is 35 seats. The Congress at the moment is, I think, at 39 or 40. So that's a very slender majority for the Congress. They were expecting, around 45 seats, but that's not happened. And I mean, this now kind of puts the Congress in a different kind of a fix because there are already talks of the party trying to move, planning to move its MLAs to Chandigarh or to, Raipur or Rajasthan somewhere till the time the new government is sworn in. Because, we've seen in the past, especially the last 8 years, of what the BJP does when it comes to, near victories of the Congress or very slender victories for the Congress, the horse trading that happens and efforts that are made to break away MLAs so that the BJP can steal a mandate. So those complications will be there now for the Congress. Uh, Also, one must not forget that the Congress in Himachal is divided into various camps, and there's a chief ministerial candidate in Sukhinder Singh Sukhu, who's won from his Nan seat. Then there's another chief ministerial aspirant, who's Mukesh Agnihotri, who's also won from his seat of Aroli in Una district. Uh, Possibly in a way, good for the Congress that two of its other very senior CM aspirants, Kaul Singh Thakur and Asha Kumari, have both lost, their seats of Darang and I believe Darang and Dalhousie. But there are still two very major factions that will be vying for the chief minister's post. So for the Congress now, balancing these aspirations, protecting the MLAs from poaching efforts by the BJP, that becomes the immediate concern. And
Puneet, that was actually
yeah.
supposed to be one of my questions. Now that Congress has this clear number favors, what would be Congress's next move?
As I said, the immediate move would be to one, to ensure there is some kind of a consensus on who their chief ministerial face would be. Second, how do you protect the disgruntled MLAs from being poached by the BJP? It may not be an immediate threat, but it will be a threat that will remain 6 months or a year from now, or if not, from tomorrow or this evening onwards. But these would be the two primary concerns of the party. How do you protect your flock, and how do you have a consensus without, Pratibha Singh, who's the late Veerbhadra Singh's widow. She did not contest the election. She's the Congress MP from Mandi. But her son has just made a statement, I believe, in Shimla. Her son, Vikramaditya Singh, has won from Shimla Rural. He's a second-term MLA now. But he has apparently made a statement to the press that Pratibha Singh also is a contender. And so you have Pratibha Singh, you have Mukesh Agnihotri, you've got Sukhinder Singh Sukhu. So, how do you evolve a consensus within the legislative party on one candidate to be the chief minister? Then even the government formation, there will be some disgruntled MLAs, people who will lose out on a ministerial berth or who would want some kind of a hefty portfolio. So those concerns remain, uh, and those will play out now over the next couple of days as the Congress gets down to its government formation talks.
Puneet, you earlier said, that Himachal is a very small state, and obviously, election results are not easy to predict. It is a state with just 68 seats, and even few thousand votes could actually make a huge difference. And the state also has a three-decade history of voting out the incumbent government. So, Puneet, Priyanka Gandhi led the campaign in Himachal Pradesh. So, should we also see this as a personal victory?
Uh, In a way, yes. Particularly after the terrible drubbing that the Congress faced under her leadership in UP earlier this year, this was the next kind of electoral outing for Priyanka. She was practically, managing every minute detail of the Himachal campaign, the decision to not project a chief ministerial candidate, the issues that they want to raise, what kind of rallies, the number of rallies that she'll address in areas where she'll address these rallies. All of that was handled by her team and by her. She had brought in Bhupesh Baghel from Chhattisgarh, who then got pretty much the same team that was managing the Congress's campaign in Uttar Pradesh to manage the Congress's campaign in Himachal. So for Priyanka, it's definitely a sort of a personal win. Uh, the Congress uh, would be ill advised to blow this out of proportion. There is this tendency in the party to immediately latch on to whichever member of the Gandhi family shows some kind of promise for a electoral turnaround of the Congress. And as we know, Rahul is busy with his Bharat Jodo Yatra. He did not campaign at all in Himachal. He was not involved in the campaign. He did campaign very briefly in Gujarat, uh, but Gujarat, as we know, has been a very, very humiliating drubbing for the Congress this time round. They've, I believe, not even been able to touch 20 seats so far, in the trends that have come in. I mean, yeah, for the Congress, there may be, talks of getting Priyanka more involved in electoral campaigning, uh, electoral strategy, and, basically drumming up support for the party. But at the same time, the Congress needs to realize that the Himachal verdict is not entirely a verdict uh, for for Priyanka Gandhi's leadership. That would be a very wrong way of looking at the result. One will need to, acknowledge the fact that a very, very major chunk of major factor for this result was that Himachal has always been a state where anti-incumbency has played a major role. There was tremendous, visible, palpable anti-incumbency against the Jairam Thakur-led BJP government in Himachal. It had been apparent for over a year and a half now that the BJP is slipping in Himachal. Uh, what the Congress, considering the drubbing that the party has faced in Gujarat, they can sort of draw solace from the fact that uh, Prime Minister Modi had campaigned as extensively in Himachal as he did in Gujarat, and Himachal also happens to be the home state of the BJP national president, Mr. JP Nadda. So, despite that, the BJP failed to perform. They did not win the state, or retain power in the state rather. And this was the state where Mr. Modi made that statement where he said that do not look at the candidate you're voting for me. And he was practically asking people, which of course he's done in the past also, and BJP has kind of always, ever since Modi became the prime minister in 2014, that has been the BJP's modus operandi for elections. But to say this in an election, that you are voting for in an assembly election, and that too for a small state like Himachal, that you're not voting for the MLA candidate, you're voting for me, shows the nervousness within the BJP. So, for the Congress to to kind of project this victory as a victory for Priyanka and her leadership would be way off the mark. And, they'll be doing the same kind of blunder that they've done in the past. Although I don't think at the moment that is where what the Congress is trying to do. They're trying to say that we fought the election as a united party. The different factions came together. We raised the right issues, etc. So let's see. I mean, going forward, as far as Priyanka is concerned, of course, she might take on a greater role within the organization. That depends on the new Congress president. Uh, or at least that's what the party says, that Mr. Kharge will decide. But Rahul, as far as Rahul is concerned, he is right now on his yatra. There's a possibility that once the current leg of the Bharatiya Jodo Yatra, completes in around February next year, the party might start a second version of it from either the east to the west or the west to the east. So that would leave Priyanka to kind of as the main star attraction for the Congress's electoral campaigns. How much of it really delivers for the Congress electorally is too early to say, and Himachal should not be a benchmark for that.
Puneet, for a while there you were talking about BJP and their campaign in the state. So, adding to that, while the party actually has got it's only fair to say, a sweeping victory in Gujarat, it seems that BJP cannot continue to rule Himachal Pradesh. So, what actually worked against the BJP in Himachal Pradesh? And is it fair to say that the rebel factor hurt the party's electoral results?
Uh, there are, see, in any election, there are a combination of factors that work in favor or against any party. Himachal is no different. The BJP, aside from the history of the electoral history of Himachal voting out an incumbent government every 5 years, with the exception of the 1985 elections, uh, uh, yes, there was very heavy anti-incumbency. The chief minister they had, Mr. Jairam Thakur, was very unpopular. He did not have the kind of support within his party to carry an election on his own. Possibly it's not something that Mr. Modi wanted also when they made him chief minister. Mr. Modi prefers all elections to be fought in his name. And, there is no uh, second rung leadership that is allowed to kind of carry an election on their own. So that aside, there were factors of there were different factors in different areas of Himachal which also kind of played against the BJP. Rising unemployment was a major factor. Rising prices of fuel were a major factor. Uh, the Agnipat and the Agnivir scheme was also a factor in the Kangra belt. Kangra happens to, the traditional dictum is that whoever wins Kangra in Himachal wins the state. It has around 20 assembly segments. The last time I checked, with the trends, the Congress I believe, leading in 12 to 14 seats in Kangra out of those 20. Uh, so, and Kangra is where all of these factors were at play, whether it was unemployment, whether it was Agnipat, whether it was, price rise, uh, lack of Jairam Thakur's popularity. So that has definitely kind of, poked the BJP's boosts in Himachal. The rebels were again a factor in different constituencies. Uh, whether the BJP tries to turn it into an opportunity now, we'll have to wait and see. The BJP is, I believe, winning around 26 seats at the moment. There are three rebels who have won or are close to being declared as winners. All three of them are BJP rebels, and there are already talks that the BJP is having with these rebels to come back to their fold. If these three come back, the numbers go up to 29, which is just about six-way short of the majority mark. And then, as I had said earlier, the BJP can try to poach the remaining required majority from the BJP, the Congress's flock of MLAs. So the rebels, yes, in the election, they damaged the BJP. Whether they come back to the party's fold, we'll have to wait and see.
The entire nation is actually watching news now to know what's happening in Gujarat and Himachal. Viewers, please be informed that the federal is giving live updates. And back to you, Puneet. Puneet, can you please tell what happened to AAP in Himachal Pradesh? Why did they fail miserably?
Well, one, I think they kind of gave up on Himachal uh, almost a month or two after they went into Himachal in a big way, which was after the Punjab elections uh, in March this year. Punjab has a common border with Himachal. The AAP at that point in time thought that because of a shared border, because Himachal is a smaller state to manage politically, electorally, they will be able to make significant inroads. But then somewhere down the line, they decided to focus uh, purely on Gujarat, which was going to poll simultaneously. Uh, in a way, it has paid dividends because the AAP is now recognized as a national party, will now be recognized as a national party since it's notched up about 12% vote share in Gujarat, which is double of what they would have needed to get the national party tag. It The results in terms of seats have certainly not been as encouraging as the Aam Aadmi Party wanted or had projected. They haven't even gone beyond a single digit tally. I think they were at 6 or 5 the last I checked. Uh, but in Himachal, they clearly went from one blunder to the other. Over the last few months, several of whoever they picked to lead the party unit in Himachal, a few weeks or months down the line, either switched to the BJP or switched to the Congress. They had no cogent, cohesive narrative for the election. Kejriwal did make rounds of Himachal to campaign, but clearly, he did draw some crowds in, a certain some of his rallies, but clearly it did not convert into votes. And in fact, I was just checking a while back. Uh, I believe their vote share in Himachal is just around 1%, and on almost uh, I think on all 68 seats or maybe 65 seats, their candidates have lost their deposits. So it's a very poor performance for them, considering that it's a state neighboring Punjab. It's a state with some relative proximity to Delhi. Um, uh, and it's a small state to manage electorally. It's a bipolar state, and there were definitely issues that the Aam Aadmi Party could have raised, which would have struck a chord with Himachal. But clearly, they gave up too early on Himachal and decided to focus on Gujarat, which maybe in hindsight uh, they'll they'll regret, or maybe they won't, considering that they've got a 12% vote share in Gujarat. So they would want to focus on that and not concede that Himachal was a major blunder.
Thank you for your inputs, Puneet. Viewers, that was Puneet, our senior political journalist. He was giving us updates on Himachal Pradesh results. We also have our reporter, a special correspondent, Damayanti Dar, reporting from Gujarat. So please follow us on all social media platforms for live and timely updates. Thank you.
Subscribe to the Federal's YouTube page for more news and updates.